Hello everyone, and welcome to Cyber Stories. I'm your host, Audentum, and today we're going to read a Reddit story from a man who has had enough of his wife's craziness. Am I the a-hole for destroying my wife's birthday? Hello, long-time lurker here, but I have finally had it, and I genuinely need to know whether or not I am the a-hole or not. My wife, 33, says I, 35 male, have ruined her birthday. My wife has been yelling at me almost daily for years, sometimes over small things, sometimes over things I feel are completely wrong, and sometimes because I am guilty of whatever she's yelling at me for. We've been together for 13 years, and her yelling started around year 3. Back then, it was more about me being irresponsible and not helping out with chores and such. I feel those things were okay for her to yell at me, and I actually made a huge effort to apply changes. I started noticing that whenever I complied with whatever she was yelling at me for, she found new things to yell at me for. Back then, it wasn't as severe as it is now, but I have seen her gradually turn into a person that genuinely seems to hate me. We eventually got kids, and I bought a house, and I think I am a good dad. I do everything outside of the house, and also fixing up the house, as I am pretty good with handiwork as I am an electrician. I will admit I am not perfect when it comes to doing laundry or tidying, but I admit that I am trying to be humble about it and be better. The problems really started when I one day had enough of all her yelling and started to ask her to do things differently as well, in a very friendly and polite manner. One example is that she's a very messy person, leaving stuff everywhere, and she's a firm believer of out of sight, out of mind, which has led to some drawers and compartments to be of no use, as the second you try to open them, things just flood out. She hated that so severely that I asked her if she could maybe try and think about organizing things better and applying structure, and she immediately started yelling at me. She explained how much laundry she's done, how much dishes she's done, and how many dinners she's done in the past few years, whereas she completely forgot all the things I have done outside the house, such as fixing up our house and all the things I've done before that. Basically, all the practical things. I have to add that I have severe insomnia, so sometimes my sleep schedule is completely ballistic. I can get a few hours of sleep every day until I can't anymore, and that usually lands me on the couch after work to try and get some sought-after sleep. I also have ADD, so I take medicine to relax my brain before I go to bed, which makes me a little groggy in the morning, so I often need like 30 minutes to get in sync in the mornings. The last rage-fueled yellings from hell have been about my sleep. She hates the living crap out of it. She hates that I'm so deprived of sleep that I turn off my alarm clocks and lay there literally dead when she's trying to sleep next to me. I know that's a little humiliating that I sometimes get to that point, but I've gone to several sleep psychiatrists and very recently started a new treatment including sleep and living with ADD, which I've had great positive effects from. She's also made me do a lot of weird things, i.e. she's had me go to 3 counseling sessions because our marriage is garbage, and I am always the victim in these sessions. I don't feel she portrays the whole truth, she just focuses on how much my sleep affects her, how much I hurt her by not helping her with chores, and she portrays me as some idiot that doesn't do anything. The last therapist we had was actually understanding of my side, and I said that this will be the last time I'm willing to try this, as I'm portrayed as a villain and not allowed to say anything. I actually think she did a good job, and I genuinely felt both of us had more to give each other and come to agreements. The problem is that my wife always starts breaking the arrangements and agreements that we've made with the counseling person because she later finds out she can't be on board with that, and that really agitates me. Why do we pay a ton to get a third point of view and then not follow the guidelines? One of the things brought up was that I didn't give her enough skin contact. A background story to that is I grew up with a father that was a PDF file, and it somewhat scarred me having to visit him in prison. All the shame he brought on our family, Every family member ditched him except me, so I had to help him with stuff like meeting with his lawyer, even though I didn't understand jack of anything that was being talked about since I was a teenager. I stopped being very open about my feelings, and in my head, I don't see anything wrong with it as I learned to cope with it. And my garden defense was the shell I put around me to cope with the entire thing, which essentially led to me not being a very clingy guy, holding hands, making out, etc. Midways through our relationship, she basically forced me to go seek help as I was never offered any when I was younger. But I weren't necessarily struggling with it, as I had gotten my stuff together, finished school, got a good job, car, girlfriend, 2 dogs, no mental issues, but she believes the story was so effed up that I had to go see someone. I will admit that sometimes, 1 to 2 times per year, I would get triggered by something and feel a little sad and would want time for myself and a few beers, and one could say it's a negative behavior, but I don't see it as that. Fast forwarding to 2 years ago when I had a really bad period because of one of the former victims called me and yelled at me like it was my fault, it broke me. I think it was completely wrong of him to take it out on me and yell at me for something I didn't do. But at the same time, I felt horrible because of what had happened to him. This led to me not being able to work properly, and that was my cue to seek help, because I didn't want to see what comes after that. I'd rather have some tools to handle/cope with it. The therapist I saw said that my emotional tank/bar or whatever is completely haywire because of the trauma, and I explained this to my partner. This incident also led me to go on a leave of absence for a year. I got diagnosed with severe stress because I work a lot of hours, even extra hours, and then I come home to be with the kids and eat dinner. Then I'll work on the house until evening. I also help my friends a lot, my parents, and in the summer after the phone call, I had 4 weeks vacation. But I had 3 days of relaxing time because I was working the rest of the days in my vacation. I got sent to this work-related stress rehabilitation thing, and it was really great. I didn't have to do all the classes as the other people had to do because my reason for being there was just about stress, so I was allowed to take only stress coping classes, etc. I got back to work and I'm doing really good in terms of work and limiting myself, saying no more, accepting that I need to relax more and slow down. But when she brought up skin contact of the session, I said, of course, I will try to do better. Why wouldn't I want to make her happy? I think it's a reasonable thing after all. So the next date night we had, I tried to hold her hand and she completely disliked it. She said she didn't want skin contact from me. This shocked and saddened me so much, not because I wanted to hold her hand or cuddle with her, but because we had gone through sessions and agreed on this. And this is how she had been acting with everything. The yellings have become a daily habit. She's angry from the morning till evening, always has a bad comment on standby, and I always have to watch what I say or else she loses her mind and goes completely ballistic. She yells so loud that our neighbors can hear it. She slams the walls, slams the doors, yells in front of the kids, acts immature, and behaves very poorly. Her upbringing might be a reason for her acting like this, but this is something I would just suspect as I'm not an expert. She grew up in a house where the father ruled the household and no one else could have a say. It was his way or the highway. He would yell, send visiting friends home if they were gonna eat, not allow this or that, etc. You get the picture. Her father is also stubborn to the degree that is completely wrong, and I feel she has a lot of that in her. She always just argues it until I say, okay, screw it, sure, and then she yells at me for just giving in. The incident that topped it all for me and made me make a throwaway account just to ask if I'm the a-hole is her birthday today. Yesterday, she wanted to help her mom move, and asked me to help as well since she doesn't like driving with a trailer. I respectfully said that it's our vacation now and I don't want to stress again, so I want to relax and enjoy time with the kids. She said she wants to help her mom, so I said that's completely fine, so I took the kids. The agreement was that she was going to be gone from the morning until around 4-ish p.m., but around 4 p.m. she calls me and asks if it's okay to go a little bit longer. I reply, sure, as I always reply when she calls, and asks if she can go to the gym, go drink with her friends, go to restaurants, or whatever, because she yells so much I don't want to give her anything else to yell about. Also, I think it's important to allow your partner to do things on their own with their friends. Anyhow, I did say that she needs to think of me as well. I've been with the kids the entire day, and I am exhausted. Plus, the kids really miss their mom. She starts debating and discussing against this, but she limits herself because she's sitting in the car with her mom. I knew her rage was plummeting up, so I just caved in and said sure. She returns home at around midnight and orders me to go move the car and move the trailer back into its place. I thought this was a terrible idea because I'd rather want to move out the old furniture first, and I felt it came a little fast. Anyhow, I didn't say anything because of the reasons stated above. However, I was so exhausted and felt I had done something nice allowing her to be away the entire day, so I allowed myself some childish, immature video game time. I really enjoyed it and got a lot of pleasure out of it. Today, at 10 a.m., she wakes me up and says that I should get up, which I reply, yeah, no problem. Then she proceeds to talk about why I went to bed that late when it's her birthday today, and I could tell she was already pissed off. With all due respect, I took care of the kids the entire day yesterday. I was exhausted and needed some me time. I already wrapped my mind around having to get very little sleep to participate in your big day, so I don't think it's that weird. I mean, I woke up with the kids yesterday as well, so why is it such a big deal that I wake up at 10 a.m.? And that's when I apparently stepped straight into the trap. She went off on how disappointing I am. It's her birthday and I don't respect it or want her to be happy. She kept going on and going on. I was so groggy because of my medicine and I respectfully said I need 20 to 30 minutes please, and she starts losing it. I told her that I think she's way out of line and that she should think about what she says. Then I told her that I will be going outside for 30 minutes to get in sync and come back. This led to her losing her mind even more, spamming me with messages saying that I don't care about her, I wish her a bad birthday, etc. I was shocked as I genuinely felt I didn't do anything wrong. I get home and she's furious and doesn't want to talk or do anything to be nice. So I asked the kids to help me in the backyard, and I'd bought new gloves for them to use as well as some tools to make it more interesting. They loved the idea and joined me. And then she comes and tells me to get inside to talk to her. She's furious, same arguments as before, it's just repeating itself, and I sit there like a 5-year-old getting scolded by the teacher. She tells me it's her birthday, so she should decide what we do, and she says she wants to use the carpet cleaner on the old couch so we can sell it. I say sure, but that's a one-man job, so I'll set it up for you and you can use the textile cleaner machine. She's not happy at all, again, angry. I suspect she's angry because she doesn't know how to use it properly and is afraid to screw up. However, I teach her how to use it. I teach her the pros and cons, etc. And I go back to the yard work. A few hours later, she asks me to help her, which I say of course. She's cleaned 2 parts of the couch and asks me to do the corner piece. I spend around 30 minutes deep cleaning it, and then tell her I'll return to the backyard. She proceeds to say, oh, she hates doing this and she needs to go relax a little. After relaxation, she had to eat a little. I, however, go back to working in the backyard. I fixed all the flower beds, watered, cleaned, and whatnot until 5:30 p.m., when she comes and notifies me that she wants to do something and she wants to do it now. I say, of course, I have just a tiny amount left. I finished at 5:50 p.m. and then proceeded to walk inside the house, and then proceeded to walk around the house just to see that the textile cleaner machine is just laying there. And I tell her, you could have put it back in its place and cleaned up though, and she loses her temper yet again. How dare I? It's her birthday. She wanted to do it together, so now she's angry because I didn't clean the couch with her, which my rational mind is completely idiotic, as only one person can operate the machine. However, for the sake of peace and her birthday, I clean up after her and she once again lashes out on me. She starts yelling how I ruined her birthday, how bad I am, how disrespectful I am, and I just walk to the bathroom and sit down to take a breather. I cannot fathom this ungratefulness, or why she thinks it's justified for her to say these things when I've been working hours. She bombards me with text messages while I'm in the bathroom, literal bombardment. Again, the same thing I said earlier. I told her that she's out of line and that I don't recognize her anymore. I went up to my office and here I am typing this. Reddit, am I the a-hole? I genuinely like to know, because then I clearly need to seek help, because I misunderstand and misinterpret everything. Now, I don't think that anyone could say that he's in the wrong here, and personally, if I was him, the only thing she'd be getting for her birthday is a divorce. But that's it for this one. Make sure to hit the subscribe button so you can see more cyber stories.